Hey, what's going on there, folks? Welcome back here. It is the Earthmaster on this wonderful Friday. Finally made it through the week. January 26, 2024. It's about 12:31 p.m. here, California time. Latest activity shows a 1.7 here across the west coast. Also notice on the globe there's a 6.1. Now, if you follow this channel, if you follow the Earthquake 3D program here, occasionally the EMSC will put out some type of error in terms of earthquake activity. I looked on the main site here, on the EMSC site. If you look here, 6.1 at 20 or at 1829 UTC time. And if you go over and check out the specific on that earthquake from the EMSC, the one supposedly putting that 6.1 on the globe, 1829 UTC time only shows a 3.0. So occasionally there is some errors that the EMSC model comes in. It basically, I'm trying to think how to explain it, but it's an error that pops up on their end on occasion, specifically within this region of Morocco, Spain area. Sometimes they'll throw a three-pointer up there, and it'll show like a 5 or a 6 on the globe. So this is not a legit 6.1 magnitude earthquake. That is a three-pointer that showed up here, same time, same event, but for some reason that magnitude pops up as a 6.1. So ignore that. It's just an error that pops up on the EMSC model. USGS not showing any of that. I always look for, a seismic wave, because the 6.1 is going to show up here across some of the seismograph stations. Even though it could be thousands of miles away from them, it would still pick up some type of seismic wave. And then I'll go and check out the original reporting agency, which was the EMSC, and they're reporting across the Mediterranean area. Clicked on that earthquake. Sure enough, the time matched up. The event IDs matched up. It's just the wrong magnitude on the globe for whatever reason. So ignore that 6.1. Kind of hard to ignore, right? Looks large and deep, but man, a three-pointer. That's the original quake, 3.0, 141 kilometers deep. A six-pointer at that level would definitely show up some type of surface waves out here across the area, which we're not seeing. So I figured I'd throw that out there first, because it just happens to pop up like that. Just starting off the day kind of crazy. Well, not really starting off the day, but starting off the update kind of crazy here with some false earthquakes on the map. All right, let's check out the West Coast activity here real quick. Aside from movement, well, let's see what we got up here in Yellowstone. I did see a little spike of an earthquake right here showing up on the Yellowstone station, so let's go look at it real quick. See what's going on there across Yellowstone. Hopefully everyone's having a good day. Weekend is upon us. Kind of cloudy out here in California right now. We've got more rain coming up, quite a bit actually. We'll check out the weather here in just a little bit. Let's see, what is this activity over here? Looks like some movement across the 126. That's a little odd. It looks like some movement across the eastern segment of the park, but also seeing it showing up here across Moose Creek, Idaho. So I'm uncertain on to where that struck at. It's pretty recent, within the last couple hours or so, but I'm really not seeing anything around the area that would give that type of reading. A little weird. And the reading I'm talking about is going to be this little mark right here, Parker Peak area, and some other seismograph stations. It looks like 1, 2, 3 of them maybe picked it up. But for the rest, well, maybe 4 as well. So that's an interesting deal, because that would somewhat, let's see, 1800, that would be after the fact there of the Morocco earthquake, supposedly, if it was a real six-pointer. But we'll get back to that in a little bit. Aside from local seismic activity, there's a couple at the Yellowstone area, but nothing big showing up. Let's bring up the 2.5 map, and above, there's a 3.1 way up in north of Vancouver here. I thought that had said Squamish, but it looks like Squamish, Canada. I think I pronounced that correctly, hopefully. 6 kilometers deep for that earthquake coming in earlier this morning. Handful of smaller microquakes out there today. Southern California area. Again, this is a major plate boundary. We're just seeing some small microquake activity up and down the region. Nothing above 2.5 here today. And the rest of the states out here show some movement out in the oil fields. And not a whole lot through the rest of the country out there. The big island of Hawaii, well, a little bit of activity stirring up out here today. Mostly around the Pahala area once again. Not so much up here across the Kilauea volcano. As far as I know, this thing is not erupting, but we're just going to double check and make sure. Obviously, we would see some type of increasing earthquake activity prior to any eruptive fissure activity opening up out there. As of today, Friday, January 26th, the volcano is not erupting, and it's the same wording here as we've seen in the past, talking about no unusual activity across the rift zones. The inflation, though, is still continuing. Let's go over here and check out the inflation model from the USGS site. And we'll look at a webcam or so. Let's check out the webcam first. As you can see, not a whole lot of activity stirring up here across the Kilauea volcano. This is just a segment of it, kind of a zoomed in view. Obviously, volcanic gases up there seeping through some of the tiny cracks in the ground, but no visible eruption. UWE, this is a tilt meter station. We noticed this thing spiking up here yesterday, and it looks like it's going back up once again. As far as the inflation goes, we're not quite at the level seen during our last inflation chart here back on the 22nd a few days ago, but we'll get there. I would be shocked if this thing just goes down and it doesn't come back up. Since September, the September eruption there, 2023, we've been seeing this trend of activity going up and up and up and up and up. I think even this level right here, even though it's lower than this region, still at its highest level of inflation since the 2018 eruption there across the Kilauea volcano. So things are repressurizing, it's hard to say if we're getting close or not. This thing could go up a little bit more before we see it show some eruption activity. But, the question is how much longer? But I expect this thing to go up. Looks like it may be following this little trend right here in our previous deflation event. A little spike, another little spike before a gradual increase here. So we'll watch this. It could go down a little bit and then back up. All right, as far as the inflation goes, earthquake activity out here, well, a little bit of fluid movement it looks like here. This is some type of magma activity, kind of thick, drawn-out lines. Some earthquake activity here that we've seen around Pahala showing up there across the Kilauea volcano. But aside from that, as you can see on the map, not a whole lot of swarming. Getting a little bit, this is all deep activity. I was going to say if we're looking at a shallow earthquake swarm around this area, then that could be a little interesting. But right now, no eruption, just kind of a waiting game out there across the big island of Hawaii. Up into the Alaska area, a little bit of movement across the Denali region here. The region around Fairbanks, the Aurora Lodge, still seeing a handful of smaller quakes there following that 5-pointer from a couple days ago. Total tally so far, look at that. Since that 5.3 on the 19th, that's a lot of earthquake activity. 420 earthquakes here following that 5.3 a few days ago. That's crazy. A lot of aftershock activity, but it is going down. It's not increasing. If it was increasing, I'd be looking at maybe we could be looking at who knows what, maybe some larger earthquake activity out here. But it is going away slowly. Further out and about, see what else we got across the world here. Latest one shows a 5.3 Japan area. Looks like that is into the Izu Trench there, not deep. but it's down there a little bit, 40 kilometers deep here into this region. Yesterday, we've seen a 4.5 up north. Not a whole lot to report here across the Curl Kamchatka for now. So continue to watch that area. It's been building up some steam out here. Definitely building up quite a bit of strain in that area recently. In the years past, just a matter of time before things really get going there. Across the Indonesia Islands area, still seeing some 2s and 3s out here on the globe. Not so much here on the USGS map. That's mainly because they only report the 4.0 and above. Down here across Tonga, Fiji Islands area, the latest one shows a 4.4, 360 kilometers deep here. Not a whole lot across New Zealand for now. They did have a little bit of activity. Let's see, that was 2 o'clock this morning. I wonder, USGS is not reporting that, it's not showing up here on the globe. Oh, I see what happened here. It looks like it dropped down a little bit. Yeah, I forgot when I reset this model, I was hoping it would get rid of that 6.1, but it looks like it changed the time a little bit over here in terms of the time frame, the 24-hour time frame that I try to keep here on the globe. So now we're seeing that deeper movement quake there. 3.3, that looks like that was earlier this morning into the New Zealand area. Let's double check it and see what's going on here. 2.5 2 hours ago, it looks like. 3.4, that's going to be about 9 hours or so ago. These are just the felt reports. I'm sure there's some smaller quakes out there being reported but not being felt. A look at the seismograph stations here. This is a good indicator of what's going on a broad scale by looking at all of these seismograph stations here positioned, in their respective spots out there. Goodness. And looking at the last few hours or so, last 12 hours, pretty quiet, aside from some of those smaller quakes that kicked up on the map. Up into the China area, still seeing some movement here up northern China. Stand by for a second. Still kind of trying to kick this cold that I've had for a little bit out. Yeah, 4.3 shows the latest quake activity up here, little 4-pointer. This has been another area of course, a lot of movement here recently. I think it's been over a week, so we have to go back the last 30 days and check the larger movement that took place here. That's going to be a 7-pointer. Well, it hasn't been over a week, so I thought it was over a week here. Guess not. 7-pointer along with quite a few other large aftershocks in that area of China. 67 earthquakes for a total tally, and I'm sure there's a lot more smaller ones, but that's from the USGS out here. And around the Mediterranean, again, that false earthquake showing up on the globe. Just gotta, if you guys happen to see that show up on the globe here, most of the time, if I'm live streaming and I see it, I'll jump on to let everyone know that that was a false reported earthquake. Because technically, if that was from the EMSC, that should show up down here, and it's not. They're reporting a 3-pointer at the same time frame, same details, but it's showing up as an error on the globe. I still don't know what is creating that error, but it should have corrected itself, and for some reason it's not. All right. Well, what else do we have here, folks? Anything else major going on across the globe? Atlantic Ocean down here, seen a little bit. 4.9 earlier this morning. Also yesterday we've seen a 5.4 in that same area. We'll watch for some movement further up north. I don't think Iceland's seen too much activity today, but we'll go double check it and make sure. See if anything else is going on here. 12 hours, 27 earthquakes. Not a big deal. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit down by Grindavik, but not seeing anything abnormal showing up down there for now. And a look at the... Are we going to see it? Good. Last night I could not get access to these stations here, the GPS stations. Still looks like we're going up there around the Svartsengi area. Let me check out the 8-hour time run on all of these stations here that is monitored around the Iceland area. Looking specifically for Grindavik, which is right here. Still going up. Although it looks like if we zoom in, kind of have to zoom in just a little bit here. That's a lot, but this will work. Looks like we've seen a little bit of a downturn here in the last couple days. Just barely. If we look at these little run times, 8-hour run times in the dots, you can see that there's a little drop off here. But I don't think we're done yet with the activity there across Grindavik. There's just still too much high inflation going on there. Remember, there was about 30 days of time that had passed from the eruption in December to the most recent eruption there this month. The latest information here, which was put out, yesterday here, shows that magma accumulation continues beneath the Svartsengi area. There we go. Inflation continues around Svartsengi. Over the past few days, the land has been rising at a rate of approximately 8 mm per day, slightly exceeding the recorded rate of uplift before the eruption on January 14th. So I don't think it's over. At this time, it is challenging to determine exactly how much magma has accumulated beneath the Svartsengi since the eruption ended on the 16th. Most likely, the time frame required to reach the same volume of magma as before will be on the order of weeks, not days. Maybe 30 days. Computer models have been refined to obtain a clear assessment of the status of magma accumulation. All right. So they have lowered the threat level here across the Grindavik area, zone 3 and 4, but just because it's been reduced by one level, there's still that potential of fissures opening up or subsidence into a fissure. That's not good. Basically large sinkholes in the area around zone 4 and zone 3. But as always, there's still the potential there of seeing some more eruptive fissure activity in the days ahead. And we'll continue to watch that and report back on it. As long as there's continued swelling, continued inflation, we know that obviously that there's a good chance of further eruptive fissure activity in the future. And the key to watching this is earthquake activity, I feel, up and down the boundaries up here. Last time we've seen quite a bit of swarming kicking up out here across the rift zones here and also up north about a day or so prior to the eruptive activity there north of Grindavik. So we'll continue to watch that. Right now there's only a handful of smaller quakes in this area. I think we got a couple more weeks to go. We'll continue to watch that and report back on it. Let's see what we got here for California. Lighten up slightly out here. 2.4 near the Walker area. And one little earthquake, San Martin area. San Martin, one of the two. And of course some geyser activity up here around the Clear Lake volcanic fields. These are hydrothermal operations from those power plants. Aside from that, looks like typical day here on this planet. Space weather, anything going on out there in space weather world? Let's see what we have. Anything of interest? Well, it looks like we're dying down here in terms of solar flares. Currently sitting at a C1.6 level. Let's look at the sunspots here today. They are zipping really quickly, it seems like, across the western limb here. This one's almost out of sight, out of mind. These huge sunspots here, a source of, C and M flares recently, have definitely decayed in terms of complexity. They will continue to do so, and I think we'll shift off to the western limb here, out of sight, out of mind soon. And we're left with a couple newer sunspots on the eastern limb. Doesn't look super complex, but it's something we'll watch here in the coming days. A look at the UV filter array here kind of shows those regions on the eastern limb making their presence known, but Not expecting too much from them yet. Like I say, we can't really see them all that great. 99% chance of a C flare, M flare at 45% chance, X flare around 10% or so. Not a whole lot of roars in the forecast. I think that last one was a little dud here when they were forecasting that G2 storm. Just one of those things that happened to miss us or just barely glance past the planet. So there's the forecast. Not a whole lot in the forecast for now. Storm Prediction Center looks like there is a marginal severe weather threat down into mostly the Louisiana area, it looks like, due to a 2% chance of tornado probability. Tomorrow, a little bit different story. Looks like there may be a little bit more broader region and more enhanced area. That's actually a slight category there for some tornadoes, 5% zone. So getting up there in intensity in terms of the complexity that goes on with these storms out here. Also a 15% chance for some wind damage. So just a heads up out there tomorrow. Numerical models. California out here is going to stay dry for a couple days. I mean, I think that's a good thing to let us dry out for a little bit. It was getting quite muddy out here across my neck of the woods, which I don't mind. I'm not going to complain one bit when it comes to rainfall. But looks like our next storm system here, decent storm system, supposed to hit as we head into Wednesday, it looks like. Wednesday into Thursday, bringing with it some precipitation. And it looks like that will hit down in Southern California as well before another system forms off the Southern California coast and basically hits them head on. Look at that. Right over here across this area, hitting Southern California with a decent low pressure system down there. And then it looks as though we'll get some further rainfall following these next two systems coming up. I'm hopeful. Hopefully this will continue for a little bit. The total accumulated precipitation runs out here goes to the, looks like the February 11th time period. This is a GFS model showing quite a bit of moisture out here, including Southern California, where they could get 3 to 4 inches of rain, maybe more locally. And of course in the mountains higher rainfall amounts, and snow as well. Mammoth Mountain area getting quite a bit of snow, I'm sure. Northern California looks like we're going to be around the 4 to 5 inch range. That is okay with me. I love the rain. Absolutely love the rain. I'm going to have 6 to 7 months of hot temperatures here coming up soon, so I appreciate all this rain and cooler temps. Let's see what else. Anything else going on here, folks? Looks like some kind of choppiness going on in the networks there for the seismograph stations. These do not look normal. It's missing data. Not for sure why, but that's a little odd looking. Either way, for the most part, Southern California got a couple of spikes up here. Very small earthquakes locally to that region. Let's see what it is. Could be maybe this 1.3 here. But yeah, anyway, have a good day, folks. Friday. Not for sure what I'm going to do here after all my schoolwork. I may barbecue a little bit later. I don't know. I like to barbecue in the rain, and we don't have any rain today, so we'll just see what the day brings about. Maybe catch up on schoolwork. That way I don't have to rush so much for the weekend. Take care, folks. Have a good day. We'll catch you guys back out here a little bit later for the Friday night update. Peace out.